Hey everyone, welcome back to another LEGO video. Today we're going to be counting down the top 25 sets of the past decade. This list was just completely impossible to compile because there were literally thousands of sets over the past 10 years, and getting that down to the top 25 is literally a crazy task. But I've managed to do it, and this is my top 25 sets of the past decade. Let's get right into it. So starting off in 25th place, we have the Milano Spaceship Rescue. This is a set from 2014, actually, and it's based off of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. This really has to be one of the best Marvel sets that we've gotten from the past decade. Obviously, disregarding some of the UCS ones and stuff, this definitely has to be, at least for me, one of my favorite Marvel sets from the past decade because it comes with some amazing figures, which is something we really don't see with Marvel anymore, in my opinion. And also a build that actually has to do with the movie. You know, I think that's a really great thing. Furthermore, it is definitely the best Milano that we've gotten from LEGO over the past 10 years. In 24th, we have a set from the Ninjago movie. This is the Temple of the Ultimate Weapon. Quite a mouthful of a set, but it is a really solid set. The architecture here is really nice. The price per part is also really amazing, and you just get a lot with this set. Not only do you get this really grand-looking temple from the Ninjago movie, which really encompasses the style that we see with Ninjago. Along with that, you also get the full lineup of ninja figures in this set from the Ninjago movie, which is a really great way to get those. And you also got these lion builds, which were a nice inclusion as well, as they had some nice techniques used on them. Next up, in 23rd, we see the Temple of Light. This set manages to make the list for a couple of reasons, but it really encompasses the nostalgia of Ninjago fans. And I think the set really holds up still to this day as one of the better Ninjago temples, because not only do you get the temple, you also get the Golden Mech, which is a really nice inclusion back in the day. Obviously, in 2020, we're getting that remake set, which is really cool. But yeah, this set really just harkens back to a lot of the stuff we saw with Ninjago, and I think it definitely deserves a spot on this list. Coming in 22nd, we have the Ninjago City Docks, which is really quite a grand set, of course. This comes with a bunch of figures, as well as a just ridiculous amount of attention to detail, akin to what we saw with Ninjago City. And the nice thing about the set, actually, is that you can connect it with Ninjago City, and for that matter, you can actually connect it to other modulars if you really wanted to. So yeah, this set really holds up very well. Not quite as well, in my opinion, as Ninjago City, but it's still a really great set and one of the better ones we've seen over the past 10 years. In 21st place, we have what is, I think, the only Technic set on this list. This is the Bugatti Chiron, or Chiron, I don't know however you pronounce that. And this is, of course, just a ridiculous Technic set. I couldn't even begin to explain the amount of engineering that went into this set, and it's a ridiculous set that I still haven't gotten the chance to build. But it's really just crazy. Obviously, it doesn't have something for everyone. People who really love minifigures aren't going to love this set, obviously, because, well, it doesn't have any. But those who are more into the engineering side of things, this is really a great set because it's insane. It really is. I think that's really enough to say about it. Next up, in 20th, we have the Titanium Dragon. This has been an interesting one on this list. This is one that I kind of put there more for me because this is a set that I really loved back in the day. And I mean, that's not really back in the day, that was 2015. But this, of course, is from the Tournament of Elements season from Ninjago. This is really a great set. There really isn't anything bad I can say about this set. It's a really great dragon. I think this is one of the better Ninjago dragons that we've gotten, just because even though it's not the grandest or the largest, it's got all the detail that you need for a Ninjago dragon. And of course, the figures in this set are really just phenomenal. Getting the Titanium Zane for the first time, actually, and then some other really great figures and iconic characters from Tournament of Elements. Coming in 19th is a set that really means a lot to me, as it was the first Ninjago set that I ever purchased. This was Kai's Fire Mech from 2013, from the Final Battle season. The reason it's the 19th is because obviously it is only a $10 set. It's not like the grandest thing on this list, but it is a set that means a lot to me, as of course, as I said, it was the first Ninjago set that I purchased, and there really isn't anything bad I can say about the set. It's a nice, solid mech, similar to the ones we're getting with Marvel this year. Next up, in 18th place, we have a set that really surprised me at the time. This is the Lighthouse Siege from 2016. This set really just was solid for really all the reasons you could think of. Not only did it have great exclusive minifigures, and you really got all the figures from Skybound, actually, You also got that exclusive Echo Zane, which is really great, and the set itself just really holds up as kind of a unique build, because we don't really get lighthouses in Ninjago, or really anywhere for that matter, maybe a couple creator ones every so often, but you know, it was really quite an exclusive set, and just a lot of really great things to say with this set. In 17th place, we have the Green Ninja Mech Dragon from the Ninjago movie. This set really holds up in some different ways than, of course, the Titanium Dragon might, as it sort of appeals to, I think, a bit of a different audience. But the set really does have a lot of things to offer, with some really nice sort of exclusive figures, as well as a really nice dragon build, including a brick-built head, which is a thing that obviously I love about the Ninjago dragons. It's why the Titanium Dragon was also one of the dragons on this list. But this one's a little bit higher up, as I think some of the building techniques in this were a little bit more advanced and interesting. And of course, this has to do with the Ninjago movie, which was, I think, a little bit more interesting than specifically the Titanium Dragon. So yeah, that's why it's in 17th. In 16th, we have a very recent set. This is Cole's Earth Driller from the Legacy line. And I really love this set. I don't think there's really much to say here. Obviously, the figures aren't anything spectacular. They're just sort of some remakes of some older characters, including some of the Stone Warriors and stuff. But the set itself just is groundbreaking for a Ninjago set. Not only do we get one of these buildable figures, which is, I think, a first for Ninjago, we also get a really nice remake of Cole's Earth Driller that is just completely exponentially better than the one that we got in 2013. So there's really not too much bad to say here, and I think it's really an iconic vehicle at this point for Ninjago, especially looking back at the 2013 stuff. So there's really nothing bad here, and the play feature is just amazing. I don't really say much about play features, but I think the one here is just executed very well. In 15th, we have a set that I don't own, but is one that is quite interesting. This is the LEGO Minecraft Village set. And in my opinion, out of the two, I believe, D2C sets that we got for Minecraft, this is definitely the better one, in my opinion, because we get the exclusive villagers in this set. And I think they've released villagers ever since that set came out, but it's still a really nice way to get villagers, and it just is an iconic sort of part of Minecraft, in my opinion. You really get sort of a good feel for Minecraft with this set. Not only that, you can sort of disassemble the different parts of it into different segments, and you can rearrange it, which is the nice thing about Minecraft sets. So in a way, this sort of embodies the entire Minecraft theme on a whole. In 14th, we have a set from Ninjago. Of course, there's going to be a lot of Ninjago on this list, but this is the Temple of Air Jitsu from 2015, I believe. This is quite a good set, in my opinion. It really does capture the architecture of Ninjago, and of course you got all the sort of deep stone outfits for the ninja as well, and some really nice exclusives such as Misako and the Postman. So there's really some great stuff going on there for minifigure collectors and stuff like that. And the set itself, just as I said, is really great. The architecture is great, and it really does embody what the temple looks like in the show. In 13th, we have the Detective's Office, which is the first modular on this list, and definitely one of the more interesting ones. In my opinion, I think this definitely has one of the better sort of color palettes of any of the modulars that we've seen, as opposed to like the Brick Bank, which just is really bland in my opinion. But there's really a lot going on here, and not only that, but there was also sort of a story thing going on, which I guess is interesting, and some of the figures in the set are pretty good as well. In 12th, we have the Roller Coaster, which is also quite a recent set, I believe from 2018, and this of course uses the newish roller coaster pieces that we got. And yeah, there's really nothing bad here. It's just really quite an interesting set, quite an expensive one, but I think they did something quite unique considering they do fairground sets maybe yearly-ish, and this was the first big roller coaster we got, and something that I think people are really asking for kind of throughout this entire decade, to be honest. So this set really delivered on that, and for those people who really love like amusement park stuff, this set was really just perfect and kind of embodies that entire sort of idea there, I guess. Coming in 11th is a set that I wish I owned, but I don't, and it's another really great one on this list. This is the Haunted House from Monster Fighters, I believe. This is quite an old set. I don't remember when it came out. Probably like 2012-ish. I might be wrong about that, but yeah, I think that's when it came out. This is the Haunted House, of course. This set is really just quite an interesting set, to be honest. It's sort of like a modular, but it's not really. It came with quite a few interesting figures from the Monster Fighters line, actually. And it just is quite a unique style of architecture because it isn't really quite the European style that we see with modulars, and of course it's quite different than the sort of oriental style that we see with Ninjago, so it definitely fits in its own way and is really quite a nice set. In 10th place we have the Shield Helicarrier, which I think is the biggest Marvel set that we've gotten in the past 10 years. But this set really is quite good. I personally quite like this set. Obviously, getting the micro scale stuff is sometimes not great. Some people don't really like it. I think it's fine. Obviously, with something this massive, I think that micro scale is definitely the way to go, and it still really works out because it's still a very grand looking thing if you put it on a shelf. And obviously getting some really amazing figures in the set as well was really great. Obviously you get Nick Fury in this set, which is great, and a lot of other variants of some of the Avengers, which is really just good. So there's really nothing bad here for Marvel fans. This is really a great set. In 9th place, we have Assembly Square, which is the 10-year anniversary modular building. This modular really is probably my favorite, mainly because it does indeed kind of encompass all of the modulars in one. You really get a lot of the different ideas here. You've got some stuff sort of from Cafe Corner and some of the stuff from the Parisian Restaurant, and really just all of them that came before it are really kind of all shoved into one modular, and I think it's actually done well. Saying shoved isn't the best way to describe it because it really is, I think, elegantly displayed here. There's enough space to really bring it all together, and I think the architecture here is done well as well. Obviously the figures aren't anything amazing with these modular sets. In my opinion, they're just kind of classic characters, but again, there's nothing really bad with them, so yeah, that's really all there is to say there. In 8th place, we have one of my favorite Ninjago sets that we've gotten in prior years. This is the Monastery of Spinjitzu. This set is just, I don't even know where to start with this set. Not only do you get a full lineup of ninja characters, obviously, which is really great, you also get just an amazing build. It's such an iconic thing. I'm surprised they didn't do it earlier than Legacy, but it's really just an amazing build that we got. And the nice thing, obviously, is that you can sort of expand onto it, as you saw with the wall mod stuff that I did earlier this year. Yeah, it was earlier this year. But yeah, so there's really a lot of customizability with Monastery of Spinjitzu, so there's just a lot going on there, I think. And of course, as I said, the architecture with it's just really great. So yeah. In 7th place, we have a set that is really quite meaningful to me, as it is the Battle for Ninjago City. This is a set from Rebooted, I believe, 2013, 2014, one of those years. This set really is quite great for Ninjago fans, I think. It was the first set that we got the Overlord in, which was kind of a landmark for Ninjago sets, I think. And it's still to this day probably my favorite Overlord variant, even with the Legacy ones. And this set was just really great. It really captured what we kind of had with the Temple of Light, but just kind of really brought it up a step. It was more akin to like the Fire Temple, I think. So yeah, there's really nothing bad about this set. Again, it has a lot of the aesthetics that we see with the Ninjago sets. In 6th place, we have kind of a weird one. This is obviously Minifigures Series 1, which is sort of, I guess, represents the whole minifigures series that we've got over the past couple of years and just really the past decade, technically. In 5th place, we have the Millennium Falcon. This, of course, is the biggest LEGO set ever made as of 2019. Yes, maybe. We'll see. Maybe there'll be a bigger one in the future, but this, of course, is the biggest set so far. And the minifigures are pretty good as well, so there's really nothing to complain about with this set, except maybe the price. That's a little steep for some people. This set is just ridiculously massive. There's so much going on with it. The amount of detail that's packed into this thing. In 4th place, we have arguably the best modular building that we've got in the past decade. This is the Parisian Restaurant. This set really just is amazing. Its price is great, the figures are great, the overall architecture is great, the colors are great. I think it's just perfect. It's such a great starter modular. I think that's why people really love it. Because it really, if you don't have any modulars, this is definitely the one I would suggest getting. You can't really do that anymore because I believe it's retired now. It might be, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, definitely a great modular, and I would highly recommend it if you haven't gotten it. In 3rd place, we have the Destiny's Bounty. This is the one from the Ninjago movie in 2017. This is just a ridiculously well-detailed ship. For its price, it's just such a good set. And even for people who aren't really Ninjago fans, this is just a great-looking ship. There's some great figures. Obviously, you get the full lineup of Ninja again. A lot similar to a lot of the other sets on this list, which is just great, getting like a big collection of figures in one set. But just the details in this set are ridiculous. Like, there's so much detailing put into this ship, especially when you compare it to like the original Destiny's Bounty. It's just insane, the comparison between the two. In 2nd place, we have one of the original Ninjago sets. This is a set that means a lot to me. This is, of course, the Fire Temple. This set really set up a lot of the bigger Ninjago sets to come down the road. Obviously, this set is just insane when it comes to minifigures. Obviously, looking back on it, a lot of the figures in this set are just really amazing, such as Samakai and some of the other characters in the set as well. And before we get to number 1, there are a couple of honorable mentions, because as I said, narrowing this list down has been it's been ridiculous, because there are just thousands of sets, literally thousands of sets to go through, and clearly I'm not going to get them all on here. This is really my personal take on the top 25 sets of the past decade. So these are 5 sets that I think are great, but they just sadly didn't really make the list. So yeah, these are the sort of honorable mentions, I guess. And in number 1, we have what I believe to be the best set LEGO has produced in the past decade. This is Ninjago City. This set has to be my favorite set of the past 10 years, hands down. It's just so amazing. There's so many things going on with this set that I love, and obviously it's not perfect. There are going to be some problems with the set. There are some small things that I would like improve and stuff. It's not going to be perfect, but it is definitely, in my opinion, the best set that LEGO has made. Not only does this set come with a lot of exclusive figures, which is great for someone like me who likes collecting figures, it's also really great because it's really quite a unique style of architecture. It's quite similar to a modular building, but it's also very different because it's not really inspired by, say, European-styled architecture, which is what we see with the modular buildings a lot. It's more inspired by, like, sort of the Ninjago architecture, if you will. Like, that's sort of just me saying that, but it's still like inspired by that, but it's really not, because a lot of the other Ninjago stuff we've got, like the Temple of Air Jitsu or the Fire Temple or even the Temple of Light, like it's all temple-like things, right? This is very unlike anything we've seen from Ninjago, and I actually really like it. I think it's enough like a modular, but it's also very distinctly not, and that's what really makes it such a unique set, and definitely my favorite of the past 10 years. In all, that's really all I have to say with this countdown. I think it's been a really amazing 10 years with LEGO. Obviously, I haven't been on this YouTube channel for 10 years, so that's a little different, but I can't wait for 2020, and I know this is the last video for 2019, which is a bit rushed because I really wanted to do more, but yeah, that's just kind of how things ended up working out. So obviously, feel free to leave I wouldn't leave your top 25, but if you want to leave like a top 5 or something in the comments, go ahead, do that. Hopefully they're still there. I really hope they are. See you guys all in 2020 and in the next video. Goodbye.